So, I found a disc or two. Here they are. A new copper seal there and there, which will be installed on the brakes. The hose will of course be coming on here. We'll be tightening that into the brake cylinder, and then we have to refill the master cylinder with brake fluid, which is actually placed in here. You have to go through the floor. Unfortunately, it's a bit dark in here, but as you can see, there's a lid, plastic lid you take off underneath the carpet, and you can see right there. That's the lid we take off afterwards when we do the bleeding. So I'm going to install the hose now. Boom. Right. Okay. So as you can see here, it's been installed. And remember, guys, do not over tighten this. You'll be in a heap of trouble afterwards. Yeah. And I opened up here just a little bit, so that if there is any fluids, it will just drain automatically into the cylinder here, the brake cylinder. The path I've chosen is this one. Is flush. Well, I can't go straight up because, well, it makes no sense because of this. So I'll have to twist it a bit back, and you can see there is clearance all the way. And if I turn it the other way around, if I can, see, we still got clearance. So this should be it. The next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to take and clean the brake pads a bit, and the brake drum as well. And I'm going to do a little drain. I take my vacuum brake hose breathing kit, or whatever you call it, bleeding kit. I'm going to put that on there, and I'm going to refill the master cylinder, which is, you know, placed inside the car. Yeah, and I'm just going to allow fluids to get into the brake cylinder. Yeah, then of course I have to change the other side as well, because if this one looks like this, it's probably just as bad on the other side. So, and remember the spring. I haven't put this one yet, but there's a spring here. So, but you can feel it when you get all the fluids in and you shut the valve here, and you with your finger just push the brake pedal, because you should be able to see these move. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to it. This is a nightmare. You see, it's not quite millimeter, it's not quite imperial, it's not quite American, it's a bit of everything. So this one apparently is millimeters. So we have to put this thing on here, and just to open it up. Oh, there we go. So we can look into the master cylinder and see how much is in there. Right now there's nothing. Well, maybe there's a bit. I'll just find the lamp. Hang on. Okay, so let's have a look, and you can see there is something in there. I'll just fill this up to maximum and start draining and bleeding. Okay, so we all set. I got my vacuum pump thing here, and I put the key on it, and right now it's in closed position on there. So I'll create vacuum. I'll open up here. I'll check the fluid level continuously, and when the fluid level gets, well, I would say lower, I shut this here again, and take this one. I've just release the vacuum, refill, and I do that a couple of times. Alright, so let's see if we can see the level coming down. It might be difficult. No, really. It's a slow process because I haven't really opened it up that much, but yeah. Oh, I see it coming down. I just have to shut it. So, locked. And I take this off. I could just let it be like that, but you get deaf from that hissing sound. So, well, that's the procedure, guys. So you just refill, you open up this, open up that, and keep your eye on the level. Shut this thing when you get to a certain level. Shut that off so you won't get deaf. And refill. Right, so I did the final refilling. I don't know if you can notice, you can see it down there, but well, I haven't filled it up yet, but I have to. This is the last time I did this, so this will be filled up now. But you can see the movement already. It's been bled. Let's see if I can find the correct pedal. All right, now you see I push the pedal, boom, dumps instantly. All right. Right. So next is to get the hub and the brake drum, the brake drum back on. I had a question about whether you could control for leakage as it is right now, but you can't really do that unless you really push or step on the brake and keep the pressure there, because as it is right now, all that will do is just take the pistons here and just move them out until there's no more piston, and just and that's all that wonderful expensive fluid will just drain out. But when the hub is back on and the disc is back on, oh, not the disc, the drum is back on, yes, you will do a brake test, and you can check the hoses and see if they're leaking or not, and you can see if the joints here are perfect as well. So yeah, but for now, brake drum, which is already more set, or more like set. You see, this here was rusted really hard, so I had to scrape all that, but now it feels fantastic. Yeah, so it's going to be assembled, and it's going to get a lot of grease in here, and put back on the car. Right, so brake drum's back on. It's not tightened yet, so it's just to show you. So right now, the bearing in here is divided, so you have two end pieces, and you have a center piece with the balls that is attached to a ring of some sort. Yeah, I greased it well up in there, and I put the ball holder back in, and the end piece here. Now I'm going to grease it up a bit more in here, and then there's a disc and the bolt, the nut itself. Yeah. And when you tighten this, you tighten it into so there's no slack whatsoever, and then you loosen it just a little bit, so you can feel this just a little bit, because when it gets warm, the bearing itself will get warm and expand a bit, and they'll take out that slack. So not so that the wheel is standing like that, but right. So now it's a matter of tightening the center bolt here, the center nut. Sorry. When you don't have specifics, like you do in modern day cars, where you say this is tightened 400 newton meters or 300 newton meters or whatever, then it's old school. This being old school, you have two bearings, so you have a bearing here and a bearing in the back end that's got that cone shape. So they are supposed to be not overly tightened, but tight enough and still so you can actually feel some movement. Not too much, but a little bit, because of the heat it will generate when this is all rolling around. Will eliminate that well, you know what I mean. So right now it's just put on there. So I'll take my tool here, and I'll tighten it. This is pretty difficult because there's one hand. So I'll tighten this. There we go. Right, so I'll tighten this. So I'll feel a good resistance. That will be it. And we can hear, and we can see they can still move about here. And to do this 4 or 5 times to make sure that the bearing is actually set at its very, at the place where it's supposed to be, right? So, like that. There we go. Okay, so now it's a question of loosening it again. And then, it doesn't make any sense. I know it doesn't make any sense. This is the difficult part. This is where I loosen it fully. Now it's all loose, right? And then I go back till I feel resistance, which is about there. And I look and I see there is a good point where I can put in the pin. As you see, it doesn't sound bad. It actually sounds pretty good. I don't know if this makes any sense. If you guys have a better way to explaining it, please do so in the comments, or even perhaps even leave a video, because it's it's difficult to explain, but you can feel it. You can actually feel this. And if you see in here, there is the brakes, and this one is the next part we have to do when this is all tight, and that is to work the brake pad or the brake shoe onto the drum here on both sides. So that's the next, after the lid, of course, and the split. And there you have it. Split is in. I do this. I take this up and make sure that the split is in here, and the bottom part is pushed inwards. So we got a locking thing here, and we got a lock in there. Boom, that's it. Next, I'll take this lid here and I'll fill that up with grease, put that on, and get ready to work on the brakes. So right now, it's very loose. So I'll just tighten this in here. You could probably hear it. Click, click. Oh, you hear it? Give it 2 more. No, I can't barely move it. So I'll just go back a bit more. There we go. You hear that? So that's, if we tighten it just a little bit more, just 1 click. Now you hear it, always. So now it's just touching. Right? And then we do the same at the secondary, which is down here. You hear it? Come on. Or perhaps this is the opposite way. Hang on. Yeah, now I feel it. Now it's very tight. Just release a bit more. There we are. See, so it's about here and it's about feel. I could feel the resistance when I move this, and you can hear it. Right. In theory, this side should be done. So I'm off to do the other side. So that was the assembly part. Please comment, but keep the comments in a proper tone. There's nothing fun reading some people calling me an asshole or whatever. Yeah, just don't do that. I don't like it. And nobody really should listen to something stupid like that. So, right, so now we got the function test left, which means that I will spin this around and I'll just, with my hand, just push the brake pedal. Let's see what happens. All right, let's try it. There we go. See? Beep. There we go. Once more. Beep. Okay. Works. Thank you. Now it's off to the next side.